Hey everybody, welcome back to HNS Collectibles. This is Cody. You've caught me in the middle of chores, really. Did some running this morning. I'm going to run to town in a bit, look for a new weed eater because mine gave up the ghost yesterday. And things are growing out of control here. It's crazy how fast some of the stuff is growing. But anyway, I thought I'd slide in a couple of tag videos. And the first one I was going to do was the top 10 from 10 different genres tag. So Dave over at David's Horror, be a link below. He tagged me on this. And the idea was you make a list based on your favorites of 10 different genres. So I'm going to go through them in no particular order other than I think this might be the order Dave went in. But your favorite horror movie, probably no surprise to many of you, I gotta go with The Thing. And I thought this time I'd try to show some editions I don't normally show. So this is a steelbook that I picked up off my friend Q the Horror Fan. But yeah, The Thing. Just love that movie. If you've watched my channel, you've already heard me rave about it. Can't say much more that hasn't already been said. Favorite animated movie. So I think a lot of people, pick Disney movies and stuff like that for this. And I decided to pick Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I like this because you've got, it's the mix. You've got Looney Tunes, you've got Disney characters, you've got, I don't know if they threw Hanna-Barbera in or not. I'd have to really think about it. I don't remember seeing Yogi and, those kind of characters. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit, a fun, not just animated or semi-animated feature. I guess it's animation within actual film, so it kind of blurs the lines between the two. But I'm going to count it as animated. One of the main characters is animated, so. But it's a fun tribute to those kind of movies too. So favorite drama. Thought about it, and of course, answers to these kind of lists change with your mood. They change with the time of day, probably. But I'm going to go with The Godfather. Just love The Godfather. Steelbook I picked up a little while back. Very engaging show. Very good movie. Comedy. So I thought about this, and I think of things like. Some of the classic comedies to me, Airplane, Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, those kind of things, some of the 80s comedies. But I went back to, more of a dark comedy and just the absurdity of it. And I got to say, Dr. Strangelove. This movie just makes me laugh all the way through. To take something as serious as impending nuclear war and turn it into the fiasco and that it is in here is just incredible performances by Peter Sellers, of course, playing three different people, and George C. Scott playing the general. Love that movie. Need to upgrade my copy. That's just standard def. Let's see. Favorite science fiction. So toiled around with it, and again, depends on mood. Some days I might say Terminator, some days I might say Aliens, but today I decided to say RoboCop, and this is the Criterion Laserdisc from my shelf of dead media is what I'm starting to call it. But yeah, RoboCop, love that movie. Awesome action. Again, a lot of dark humor, kind of like Dr. Strangelove. The cynical view of a dystopian future. I love those kind of movies. And Verhoeven was very good at that in RoboCop, even in Total Recall, definitely in Starship Troopers. A little bit of exaggeration, absurdity goes a long way to make a point in those kind of movies, and I just love it. I've got the nice arrow set in there too, but figured I'd show the Laserdisc. Next up, action movie. So again, mood, Probably change later, but for right now, I'm going to say the Road Warrior. I go to the Road Warrior a lot. Whenever I do a road to however many contest, I usually use the Road Warrior for my thumbnails. Great movie, great action, and a lot of fun too. So that's that one. Favorite comic book movie. So I don't know if the plot of this came from any comic books, but the characters certainly did. Because I know people will, and I don't know this stuff. I was not really a comic book guy. I liked comic book characters, but I can't tell you which edition of what series The Dark Knight was based on, or where was the first appearance of Bane, or whatever. I know people get into it that way. I don't. I enjoy the movies, not so much the comics. But my favorite comic book character movie, I thought about it. I gotta go with Superman 3. I know a lot of people hate this movie, but I love it. It's nostalgic for me. It's one of the first movies I remember my dad taking me to see in a cinema. We had a drive-in locally. You had to drive an hour to get to the cinema. But I saw Superman 3, and I just love the whole sequence where Superman turns evil and has to fight himself in the junkyard. And I think that movie gave Christopher Reeve a little bit of a chance to, do some range with Superman that he didn't get to do in the other movies. He was such a good actor. It's kind of a shame that he was really, typecast into that. He was stuck with playing Superman, I think, kind of like, Leonard Nimoy was with Spock. Favorite Western? Yeah, there's 2 or 3 that come to mind. Definitely some of the old classics. Tombstone is another one that comes to mind. Wyatt Earp. But I gotta go with, probably no surprise to you, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Again, another Laserdisc I picked up recently for cheap on eBay to add to the collection. But yeah, it does not get much better than Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I think those Eastwood movies and Leone kind of redefined the whole genre back when the spaghetti westerns were coming out. And who doesn't love the soundtrack? Favorite romance movie, so kind of a romantic comedy, I guess, but also a drama, because they're going through a potential divorce in the movie. But I'm going to go with Story of Us. Bruce Willis, Michelle Pfeiffer. I love this movie, always have. My wife and I went and saw it in theater, picked it up on DVD later. And this is a movie that can drag you back and forth between laughing your butt off or crying your butt off. One of the two. It's got the whole range of emotion, and it's also a Rob Reiner movie. So it's got that quality to it. And lastly, favorite action movie, or not action, adventure movie, which I guess. We were talking about this on the stream last week, to, draw the line between action and adventure. There has to be some sort, for adventure, there almost has to be something grand about it, something out of the ordinary. I mean, action movies, you can just have car chases, you can have fights, you can have gunshots. For an adventure film, there has to be something, maybe even mythical, stuff like that. I'll quit rambling. I think you know what I'm trying to say. But I'm going to give it up to Temple of Doom. This is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. Again, probably the nostalgia. This is one that me and my family watched a lot. And there's just so many scenes in it that were so good. When they're in the room full of spikes, when Indy fights the big guy in the mine, when they have the minecart chase. Just lots of good moments in that movie. One of my favorites. So that's it. Who else can I tag on this? I will tag, if he hasn't already done it. I'm so far behind on everybody's videos, I don't know. But I would probably go ahead and tag Project Ellsworth. John, if you have time, I know a lot of things are going on, but try that. I'd like to see your different thoughts on different genres outside of horror. So with that, I'll stop. And everybody stay safe, take care of each other. And I hope to see you back here. Come see me next time. Maybe see us on the stream tonight. Thanks.